who's in charge, you or your mind? Have you ever sat quietly and noticed just how busy your mind is? Even in a moment of silence, there's a constant stream of thoughts rushing through: memories, worries, opinions, dreams, fears, plans. It's as if a radio is playing in your head that never turns off. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it screams. And in many moments, it feels like this voice, this endless chatter, is completely in control of your life. But here's the question we're going to explore today: who's really in charge, you or your mind? It might sound like a strange question, but it's one that holds the key to inner peace, clarity, and personal power. In this video, we're going to take a deep look into what the mind really is, who you truly are beneath it, and how you can reclaim the driver's seat in your own life. Let's begin. The human mind is one of the most complex and powerful tools ever known. It can imagine distant galaxies, solve complex problems, build cities, and write poetry. It stores memories from our childhood, learns languages, and helps us navigate daily life. But this incredible tool comes with a twist: it often seems to operate independently of our will. Thoughts appear out of nowhere. You're sitting at work, and suddenly you remember something embarrassing from 5 years ago. Or you're trying to fall asleep, but your mind starts building a list of all your worries. You didn't ask it to do this. It just does. And because we're used to this constant mental activity, we rarely stop to question it. We assume that the mind and the self are the same. But are they? What if you are not your thoughts? What if you are the one hearing them? Consider this: when a thought pops into your head, let's say, "I'm not good enough," who is it that notices that thought? There's a space between the thought and the awareness of the thought. That space is you. You are the one who hears the mind, not the mind itself. This is a powerful realization. The voice in your head is just that, a voice. But you are the listener. This listener, this observer, doesn't speak with words. It just watches. It notices the mind racing. It sees the emotions rising and falling. It experiences the world moment by moment, always present and aware. Understanding this distinction changes everything. Imagine if you thought your phone was part of your body. Every notification, every sound, every message, it would feel like it was happening to you. But when you realize your phone is just a device, you gain freedom. You can put it down, turn it off, or decide when to use it. The same applies to your mind. When you think you are your mind, you feel trapped by its noise. But when you recognize that your mind is a tool, something separate from the core of your being, you begin to see that you have choices. You don't have to believe every thought. You don't have to act on every emotion. You don't even have to fight the mind. You can simply watch it. But this awareness isn't always easy. The mind has been in charge for a long time. It's used to steering the wheel. It thrives on habits and patterns, most of which were formed when we were young. If you were told as a child that you weren't smart enough or strong enough, your mind might still repeat those messages today. Not because they're true, but because the mind is just doing what it's always done, running programs. And the more you listen to these programs without questioning them, the more you begin to believe that this is just who you are. But that's not who you are. You are not your programming. You are the presence that can observe and change that programming. So what does it look like to take charge? It starts with awareness. The moment you notice a thought without being caught in it, you step into the role of the observer. That simple act, just noticing, breaks the automatic chain of reaction. For example, if your mind says, "I'll never succeed," and you notice that thought and say to yourself, "Interesting, there's that doubt again," you've created space. In that space, you have power. You can choose whether to believe the thought or let it go. You can choose a different thought. You can respond with kindness instead of self-judgment. That's the first step to taking charge, not by controlling the mind forcefully, but by stepping back and seeing it for what it is. As you practice this more and more, your awareness grows. You begin to see how many of your thoughts are just repetitive stories. The mind loves to run on loops. It tells you the same fears, the same worries, the same judgments again and again. But now, you don't just react, you observe. You watch your mind like you'd watch a movie. You become curious instead of caught up. And something beautiful starts to happen. You stop believing everything the mind says. You start choosing what to focus on. You stop being dragged around by emotions. You start responding to life with clarity and calm. This doesn't mean the mind stops talking. It won't. But it means you stop mistaking the voice in your head for your true self. One of the most powerful things you can do is to spend a few moments each day just observing your thoughts. Not judging, not trying to stop them, just noticing. Sit quietly, breathe slowly, and watch your mind. You might be surprised by what you see. You'll notice how quickly it jumps from one topic to another. You'll hear the familiar stories it repeats. You'll feel the emotions that arise without any real reason. And in this observation, you'll discover something deeper. You'll discover the stillness underneath the noise. That stillness is you. That quiet presence, always watching, never changing, that is your real identity. Once you begin to connect with this deeper self, life starts to shift. Challenges don't disappear, but your relationship with them changes. Instead of reacting in fear or anger, you respond with intention. You start to see that every situation is an opportunity to observe, to learn, to grow. Even pain becomes a teacher. The mind might say, "This is too hard," but you, the observer, remain calm. You breathe. You stay present. And in doing so, you take back your power. You stop being a puppet of the mind and start becoming the master of your own experience. Of course, this is a journey. No one becomes a master overnight. There will be days when the mind seems louder than ever. There will be times when you get caught up in its stories and forget to observe. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is practice. Every time you return to awareness, every time you catch a thought instead of following it blindly, you are strengthening the observer. You are reclaiming control. And over time, these small moments add up to real change. You begin to live with more peace, more clarity, and more freedom. Not because your mind is quiet, but because you're no longer its prisoner. So who's in charge, you or your mind? The answer depends on one thing: awareness. If you are unaware, your mind runs the show. It decides what you think, how you feel, and what you do. But if you are aware, you step into the role of the observer. You watch the mind without becoming it. You listen without obeying. You choose instead of reacting. And that's when real change happens. That's when you begin to live on purpose. In this space of awareness, even your problems start to look different. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances. You recognize that your experience is shaped not just by what happens, but by how your mind interprets it and how you respond to that interpretation. A delay, a loss, a failure, all of these become opportunities to practice. You can watch your mind's reaction and choose a better one. You can feel fear and act with courage. You can notice doubt and move forward anyway. That is the power of awareness. That is the power of stepping into the seat of control. And what happens when more people live from this place of awareness? We create a better world. Relationships improve because we stop reacting out of hurt and start listening with presence. Work becomes more meaningful because we stop chasing approval and start acting from purpose. Life becomes richer because we're no longer trapped in the past or worried about the future. We're here, now, alive and awake. This isn't just a personal journey. It's a collective transformation. When you choose to take charge of your mind, you inspire others to do the same. And together, we create a world that's more conscious, more compassionate, and more connected. So if your mind feels noisy, if you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts, remember this: you are not your mind. You are the one who sees the mind. You are the calm behind the storm. The more you observe, the more you awaken. And the more you awaken, the more free you become. Don't wait for your mind to get quiet to find peace. Find the peace that watches the mind. Step into your awareness. and take charge, because the real you is ready. Thank you for watching this video. If it helped you see things more clearly or gave you a moment of peace, consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who might need this message. Let's all grow together, one moment of awareness at a time.